Hello everybody, how you doing today? Buddy Blackford here, another Photoshop CS6 tutorial. And in this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to use the level adjustments commands. And what we're going to do is use that to adjust the tonal values or do some color correction within our photos. And we're going to do it by using, coming up to the image options menu here, and we're going to go to mode or adjustments. We're going to go to adjustments and we're going to come to levels. And you can see that the hotkey is Control L. And levels is something that you may use a lot if you're doing some color correction and stuff like that in your images. So keep that up there. In my opinion, it's one of the best color correction tools that Photoshop has and any other program has. So levels is something that's known throughout other programs like After Effects, and I've seen it in other programs like Nuke and things like that. So let's go ahead and look at what we got here. So we have our box that came up. Now what levels does is it bases color information off this image in the middle. And what this image is called is a histogram. And it takes the black levels, the mid grays, and the whites here, and you can adjust them to adjust how your image looks. So if I move this black level right here and bring it in, it's going to make the overall image darker. If I move the white level in here, it's going to make the overall image brighter. And if I move the midtones here, it's going to adjust basically the same way. So left is brighter, right is darker, but it's going to make it's going to adjust it from the midtone values and not from like the black values. So basically, it's taking your mid grays and making them darker, or your mid grays and making them lighter if you use it from the middle. Now, if you're moving around your sliders here and they don't, your image doesn't update while you're doing that, you just want to make sure that you have this preview option checked here. See, if I move it now, it's not going to show me what's going on. But if I have preview on, then I'm definitely going to see what's going on when I move the sliders around. Alternatively, if you know exactly what you want to put in, say you're doing a bunch of levels or something like that, and levels commands, you can put the values in manually into these boxes here. So if I don't know, want to do 10 here, and it'll move everything along the slider. So that's one way you can do things. So make sure you have an image open right before you do this and apply the levels command like I showed you. The first thing I wanted to show you is that there is a button here called Auto. And if you click it, it's going to do a quick levels adjustment for you. And you can see it did that. And what the auto is based on, I'm going to hit Control Z so I can go back. It's based on what's in the options menu here. So click on the options and you get your auto color correction options. Now, it's based on these different algorithms and it's what you pick. So you can enhance the brightness and contrast, and that's what happens when I click on auto. Now, if I click on some of these other things, you can see how the auto adjusts them differently here. And then you've got the option to snap the neutral midtones. Watch, I'll show you what that means. If I click on this, you can see how the histogram changes and becomes a little bit more smooth when you're snapping the neutral midtones. And then you've got your clipping here, which means that nothing will go past the darkest dark. So right now, nothing is clipped. If I start bringing this up, it's going to clip off the darkest black. So the darkest thing is actually this gray right here. So that's what the clipping does. And you can clip off on the highlights and the shadows, but you can't clip on midtones because they're not at the end. So once you get some of this set up the way you want it, you can click on Save as Default if you want, and that's what it'll default as. So if you didn't do anything, it's going to just stay on Enhance Brightness and Contrast, and that's going to be your default. So hit OK and pick whatever you need to. And let's get into this. So as I did this, things got moved around, so I'm just going to move them back. This should be 1, and this should be 255. And that's what the starting values always are usually. That's the default values. Another way to work with levels quickly is to use these presets. Now the presets have the values here, and you can click on any of these. So we got darker here, which will make the image darker. We've got increased contrast, and there's a bunch of them that'll increase the contrast. And then we've got all these other ones that you can mess with and see if you like them in your image. Default brings it back to the defaults, which is 0, 1, 255. And then custom here, you can create a custom image here, or a custom levels of adjustment. Now, if you create a custom adjustment, so let's just do something like this. We'll make it darker here. So we got this midtones to the right. We made the midtones darker. You can click on this little button over here that looks like a couple like lines or something like that, and you can hit save preset, and it goes already into your presets menu, and just hit midtones darker, or whatever you want to name it. Save it, and it'll show up down here, and these here are your different levels adjustments that you created as custom. So if I made one that said reduce redness, and I click on that, and you can see that there's no red in this. And I made that because I had a picture on here one time that at a bar, and the neon lights were making the entire thing red. So once I did this, it took out all the red and made a normal color picture. So there's the darker, and then this is the default. So you can see how the presets get saved. Most of the time when you're working with presets or the auto, they're usually a good way to start out something, but you may want to usually manually adjust and get to where you want the image to actually be. So they're just usually good starting points. They're presets that are meant to give you like a good starting point, not to be like a final option. But if your client doesn't really care too much about it and it's not like super professional, then go ahead and just use these to get your stuff done quicker. The more you get done, the more money you can make. So if you get your project done quickly, you can go ahead and move on to another project. Just make sure that you guys are putting out good quality stuff. So we'll just put this back on default so we have everything back to where it was. Now you can just adjust certain channels. So when I was adjusting the reduce redness channel here, or reduce redness preset here, if I go to my red, you can see that I moved the midtone slider here to reduce the redness. If I go look at my others, they're about the same. So what I did is I started out with a preset, and then I moved the red channel over to take out red. So if I start, let me go back to the default, and you can see that there is a decent amount of red, and there's a decent amount of blue, especially over here. So if I go, let's go to the blue channel and start taking out some of the blue. Now you can see that this is more of a yellowy picture instead, and some of the blue has been taken out. So if you want to, you can start creating presets that take out blue and take out red and green and stuff like that. So let's go back to our default, and remember that you can save and load presets from here. So if your presets didn't show up, you can load them. Or if you go on the internet and download some free levels adjustment presets, you can load them in using this and find where you put them. I would recommend putting them in your levels folder in your Photoshop files, so it's easier for you to find. Now over here at the bottom is called the output levels, and this is pretty much it sends out the level, or it adjusts the levels of ink you're going to send out to your output device, which is usually a printer. So this is what this is for. So you don't really want to use this as an overall kind of thing. Use these sliders up here that are in your histogram instead of using the output levels, because you can see how it doesn't really work very well. It just, I don't know, it just only use them for when you're messing with the amount of printer ink you want to use. One last thing that I wanted to show you about levels is these eyedropper tools that are over here underneath the options. And what these do is they sample your image to set the white point or mid-gray point or black point here. So I have a white selected here right now, and if I go ahead and select the white point, now this is going to be where white is based off from. So I would pick something that's somewhat white. Let me click on it first. And something that's pretty white. This is probably the closest I'm going to get because there are no pure whites. And now the white point is set differently and the histogram changes. You can hit Control-Z to go back. I'm going to try the black point here, and I'm going to use this black part of the shoe, and you can see that it's probably going to make the image a lot darker. And you can see that there. It actually looks pretty cool this way. I like the way this one looks. So it depends on what you're going for. Now this image now looks like it's more at dusk or towards the nighttime, getting ready to become nighttime. And this image seems like it's more towards morning time and give you more of like a dreamy feel. You can also set the midtone values, so just click on something, and these are ways that you can goof around and mess with your different values to see, like, come up with new types of color corrections that you might like within your image. So you can see that when I did use the when I set the black point, it made pretty cool looking image, and I might want to keep this at some point. So that's what I wanted to show you. Remember that the samplers adjust your black point or white point or midtone point and change what the histogram looks like on your image. So thank you for watching this more in-depth levels adjustment video. Levels is a very important tool when using color correction. That curves and contrast and brightness and things like that all combine together to help you make really awesome looking color corrections. And clients love it when you take their image and make something a lot better. And color correction is one of the most impactful ways to do that and get them to be like, wow, that looks really awesome. So that's all I wanted to talk to you guys about here, and I want to thank you again for watching, and head over to buckysroom.org to see if you can, or to check out the tutorials that we have up there on the website, and join the forum if you have any questions, and go ahead and ask away, and everybody will be happy to help you answer questions there. So everybody have a nice day. See you later.